We have a lot to get to on today's episode. Ethan Skolnick is going to join us. He's been at Dolphins camp the last couple of days since training camp opened. And are the Miami Heat just going to let KD go to Boston? Oh, it is what is it today? Thursday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. I had to bust out one of these hats again because I've been watching the newest season of Peaky Blinders on Netflix. Freaking love that show. Absolutely love it. I want to dress like Tommy Shelby every single day. I don't care that show took place almost a century ago. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy Thursday. Happy training camp week for the Miami Dolphins fans out there. Happy still not anything positive going on the Kevin Durant front week for the Heat fans of the building. Hello, David. Guys, keep in mind, you can bust into the live chat. The live chat is open here on the YouTube channel. And if you're watching us live right now at 2:01 p.m. on this 28th of July, year of our Lord, 2022, or if you're watching later on via replay, it's all the same. Smash that like button. Smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. Ethan Skolnick is going to join us from his automobile. I'm going to make him turn the video on. Hopefully he'll be stationary somewhere. He won't crash into anything, but he's going to join us from his car in about 8 minutes to talk a little Miami Heat and some Miami Dolphins, because he has been on both of those beats. He's always on the Heat beat, but he's been on the Dolphins beat as well for the last couple of days. So something, to look at here. And we've been talking about some of the same Miami Heat stories for the last 4 weeks. You realize it's been 4 weeks since Kevin Durant requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. We know they've been holding talks with the likes of Miami and Phoenix in the past, and more recently, the Boston Celtics. In fact, things look like, I don't even know if heating up is the right phrase, and no pun intended on that, but things have looked like they've been intensifying a little bit in Boston's favor. But at the same time, even though Boston has been climbing up the list of suitors, it's looking less and less likely that he gets traded, period. Right? So it's like less and less likely that KD gets traded, at least this summer. It could happen at some point down the road during the season. So even though it's looking less likely that he'll be on a different team come opening night, the Boston Celtics seem to be maybe rising a bit above the competition, because from all accounts, no matter which NBA reporter you talk to, and there are some really good ones out there, we know, by all accounts, one of the issues with KD, you can call this an issue if you want, but, he is one of probably the best 5 basketball players still on the planet. And when healthy, he's an MVP candidate at any given moment when he steps on the court. So they want to get that type of return for Kevin Durant. But the fact that he's a little bit older, teams don't want to give up too much for an aging player. But most importantly, when you're looking to trade Kevin Durant and you want like a record type of haul, right? Because the Brooklyn Nets know one of the best basketball players ever is on our roster right now. He wants to be traded, but we don't want to give him up for less than he's worth. And he's one of the best players in the world when healthy. But the problem is, if any team gives up what Brooklyn considers him to be worth, you're basically going to have Kevin Durant and a bunch of scrubs on your team, because they want all of your good players and they want all of your draft picks in return because they feel that's what he's worth. But whoever trades for him wants to make sure I'm getting a championship caliber player here, a 2-time finals MVP, but I want to make sure that the people around him are championship caliber. And that's not going to be the case if we trade literally all of our good players for him. So that's been the dilemma, right? And in the case of the Miami Heat specifically, Barry Jackson tweeted this out within the last couple of days. A story that he and Miami Heat beat reporter Anthony Chang has been working on. They're both from the Miami Herald, Barry Jackson and Anthony Chang. He says, new from Anthony Chang and me, the Heat are looking ahead, remains disinclined to trade Bam Adebayo for Durant per sources, where things stand and the Heat's position on the roster. So by looking ahead, he means they're looking elsewhere, right? The Heat are looking, okay, if trading for Kevin Durant is not realistic and it's not feasible, what else can we do? Where do we turn next? So the Heat are already considering life after KD. And a big part of it is they don't want to include Bam Adebayo in a deal. And I know you're going to say, well, wait, Bam can't play on the same team with Ben Simmons. No, if the Heat were to, and they don't want to, if they were to trade Bam to Brooklyn, we either have to find a third team for Ben Simmons or send him back to Miami and part of that deal. Because, yeah, they cannot play for the same team via trade because of their rookie max extension, some weird NBA CBA rule that I don't really understand, nor do I claim to, but that's the rule. They can't play on Brooklyn together. But the thing that I'm wondering, and I'm going to ask Ethan about this when he joins us, when Pat Riley thinks about how much he'd be willing to give up to bring Kevin Durant to Miami, do you also have to think about playing defense for somebody else potentially bringing him in? Because it's very easy for Pat to say, hey, I don't want to give up a young, ascending big man like Bam, who's in his early 20s, for a guy, or mid 20s, for a guy in his mid 30s with a limited window. So we're mortgaging the future, and our roster would be so much better if we could have Bam and KD playing together. So it's easy for Pat to say, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on that one. I'm not willing to include Bam in the deal. But if including Bam in the deal gets KD to Miami instead of just letting Boston, who has more pieces to make that trade, and if Boston is right now, according to the odds, they're minus 200, they are the team statistically, I don't know if statistically is the right word, but by the betting odds, they are the team most likely to acquire Kevin Durant in a trade. If by holding out and keeping Bam, you allow KD just to waltz into Boston, guess what? Boston, who was already a couple shots better than you were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, gets a lot better than you. So are you willing to cut off your nose to spite your face there? That's one of those questions that if Pat Riley realizes, if I don't include Bam in this deal to get KD, he's going to Boston instead, does that make Pat more likely to flinch? This becomes a game of chicken, because not only would you want KD on your roster, you want to keep him off the roster of one of your top rivals in the Eastern Conference if you can control any of that. So that's something to think about. Here's something you guys should always think about: supporting the awesome sponsors of this network and of this program. Oh, guys, I'm all in with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the official daily fantasy sports provider of Donno Daily. It's so easy to sign up. It's so easy to make your selections. It takes under 60 seconds. People are winning money, real money, all over the country playing Prize Picks. It truly is daily fantasy simplified. You've heard us on 5 Reasons talking about Prize Picks. Hopefully, some of you have been playing Prize Picks with us already. You've probably seen the billboards when you're driving down up and down I-95. Prize Picks has been sweeping the nation. It's so easy to sign up. PrizePicks.com, or download the Prize Picks mobile app, which is free. Very easy to deposit. And when you make your first deposit, use our code 5. See, I'm trying to point at it specifically. Use our code FIVE. Got to type in the whole word, and they're going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100. They're literally going to double your money. You simply select 2, 3, or 4 players, and you can go cross league and cross sport. You can have, you can select an NFL player, a Major League Baseball player, international soccer player, all on the same selection, Formula One driver, whatever you can come up with, all on the same selection, and win real money. You can win 10 times your money for getting 4 selections correct, double your money for getting 2 selections correct. I'm telling you guys, you're going to get hooked on this, and you're going to love it, and you're going to win real money, and you're going to send us thank you notes left and right. So make sure you sign up today, prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. It truly is a daily fantasy simplified. And we have an official sports betting partner here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and that's Better Edge, Bettor Edge. Guys, this is peer-to-peer, and it's completely legal in 45 states, including Florida. This is not a gray area offshore type of thing. This is fully legal. And as an experienced sports bettor, the thing that I love most about Better Edge is no hidden fees, no juice, right? You don't have to bet minus 10, minus 110, minus 120. Like you don't have to agree to any hidden fees where the odds are stacked against you. Even money, because you take a line, and whatever line you want, by the way. If you want, Marlins minus 3.5 runs tonight, you get that line, you bet with somebody who's on the other end of that. And there's no fees for that, guys. It's one of the most innovative spots in the sports betting space. And if you sign up, use our referral code. Let me pull up the link for you guys so you can see it. It's going to be on the bottom of the screen there. When you sign up, betteredge.com/5reasons, they're going to hook you up with a $20 referral bonus instantaneously. You got to try this out. Better Edge, they are changing the sports betting space. Oh, we live from the automobile. Ethan J. Skolnick, the man, the myth, the legend. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I don't think this is safe. So I'm gonna try to pull over here at some point. I'm in Pembroke Pines, so it's safer than Miami, which has the worst traffic
Yeah,
in the
that's
country.
true.
But I'm gonna do this because even in Pembroke Pines, I don't totally trust them. But it's okay. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Yeah, and even in Pembroke Pines, there's too many people from the 305 that cross into the 954, right?
We don't like the 305 here. You can stay down there.
Ah!
561 slightly more tolerable.
Oh,
But
man.
no, 954 we stay in the 954. I had to go to Miami the past couple of days, and it reminded me why I don't live
Well, I just like my solution for the last few years has been just not to leave my house unless it's an emergency. Because like I love and I've been virtually my entire life I've lived in the 305. I did live in the 954 for a couple of years, and it was quite stress-free when driving around. It was very nice. But for most of my life, I've lived in the 305, and I do love it. I rep the 305, but the roads have gotten crazy out there. I do 90% of my work from home these days. Like I take my kid to daycare, I go right home. That's the only way to live these days, Ethan.
there. I'm with you for that for the most part. I mean, there are positive aspects to the 305, as we say, but there is a reason that Mr. 305 in sports, Udonis Haslam, lives close to where I am right now. So I'll just
Oh,
leave it.
how dare he?
Actually, he's even further because compared to Pembroke Pines, like compared to Southwest Ranches where he lives, like Pembroke Pines is like the big city. So actually,
Yeah.
Udonis says this society. It's so funny too. I always give him a hard time about this because it's like you're in Mr. 305, but seriously, you're on a farm. Okay, like you're on. I mean, there is nothing in Southwest Ranches where he is. Nothing. So that'll tell you everything you need to know.
Oh man. So
Mike
I
Miller
wanted
used to drive to Pompano. Mike Miller, when he was playing for the
wow.
Heat, he lived on the water in Lighthouse Point. He would go from Lighthouse Point. He would go all the way to shoot around and then drive back
Oh my
and then go
gosh.
back to the game. No wonder he had a bad back. Seriously.
Ser- for real. Wow. He
Yeah.
needed he needed like better lumbar support in whatever car he was driving in those
You
days.
should have seen the house though, man. I
Oh, I
went
bet.
to a couple of functions over there, and yeah, but seeing Mike Miller and Shane Battier play guitar by the water was an experience. Yeah,
Well, that's
those teams
cool.
were fun. Those teams were fun.
So I've noticed representing the network, you've put yourself on Miami Dolphins duty these days.
I don't have a
Uh,
choice. They
well,
don't let anybody else go.
oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Well,
So
Alfredo was there. Alfredo was there
yeah,
today.
okay. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase. How and not talking about him speaking, talking about him throwing. What did you see from Tua? And don't lie to me. Like you give me the honest truth. How bad did he look out there, Ethan?
Oh, would you stop it? First thing, I didn't see it today. So supposedly one pass wobbled, so they might as well just take him out back and shoot him. No, I thought he looked fine yesterday. I'm honestly more interested in what he says than what he does at this point.
Yeah.
We know training camp stuff doesn't mean anything. I think that McDaniel's approach with him is correct. He's basically showing him, I'm in your corner. Don't be hard on yourself. And Tua again, I asked him the question in response to that, and he said he's always going to be hard on himself because he holds himself to a high standard. But I mean, let's just be honest, okay? And even those of us who've been Tua-holics, Tua supporters here for the past 2 years and have made every excuse in the book for him, the excuses are gone. He's healthy.
Yeah.
Their offense is I mean, fair to say it's loaded. I really, I mean, we'll see how the offensive line turns out, but they have talent everywhere. I mean, even adding Sanu as a fourth or fifth receiver, sort of a backup option here. I like Cedric Wilson. They have the chance to have the most interesting. And I know I don't want to get us bumped up the YouTube channel, but Tyreek Hill saying everybody should be scared bleepless. I think a lot of teams will be. I mean, I was talking to somebody today about fantasy projections for Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle's catches are going to go down by a significant number, but his yards per catch are going to go up and his touchdowns are going to go up. And I like their backs. I mean, now Miles Gaskin's gone from being Salvin Ahmed have gone from being your first and second backs to basically your third and fifth backs. So
Yeah.
there's talent, there's speed. I really want the coach to succeed just because he's completely the opposite of all the NFL stuff that I hate. And I think he's going to, but we will see what happens with the first sign of adversity. But there are no excuses for Tua. Everything is in his favor now, and he's going to get a full year. And my hope is that he doesn't get hurt in game 2, and then we're like, okay, we
Right.
didn't get to see it again. Because honestly, even I at that stage would be out. Like if he can't get through an entire season and get a chance to show what he can do, then I do think they need to, at the very least, create some competition for him in the offseason.
That's all well said. I wanted to ask you before we transition to some Heat stuff, as someone who runs a network and you got a lot of hands in this business, what is the rule with cursing on YouTube? Because I recently stopped because I don't want to
Yeah,
I don't want to limit anybody's like
I
monetization
don't fucking
because
know, Alex. I don't know.
you just killed this video. Like I know
I
they
just
won't. I
did.
know they won't take it down, but I don't want like I used to
Well,
curse
they
on this
take the
show.
monetization off. We can't make any money off of it. I think I just killed it
Exactly.
this episode. So I'm sorry about that. I'll throw you a few bucks. I don't think I don't think you're allowed to consistently. Although I had a post game show here on this network that literally was every other word. So and they didn't get flagged. They seem to care more about the royalty music than they do actually
Yeah.
about
Well, that's for
about
sure.
this.
Because
Yeah.
they feel like that's taking money away from somebody else. So they're very sensitive
Correct.
about that. Yeah.
Correct. So that's good. But I'm glad you promoted Better Edge. Better Edge is cool. Everybody should be on Better Edge. We're gonna get into that more during football season. Obviously, we're trying to pretend we care about the sports that are going on right now, but we really don't. I mean the Marlins. Have the Marlins scored a run this month?
I think they scored a couple after that 34 inning stretch where they didn't score a single run. I think they had like an 8-run game at some point after that. If I told you I was paying a lot of attention outside of like the
Yeah.
handful of games that I bet on, where I usually bet against them, I don't pay a whole lot of attention. But they did score a few runs, I think, since that
So go
stretch.
to Prize Picks. Here's the thing: if you use that code 5 at Prize Picks, you just bet the starting pitcher strikeouts.
Yep.
Every game. Like literally, you could make a lot of money. Just every starting pitcher strikeouts against the Marlins. Just go, and we don't need to talk about them anymore. It's fine. They're the only team in town that's not worth communicating about. So it's so the other four are interesting. I'm not counting Inter, but the other four are interesting. Honestly. So we'll get back to the other stuff.
I don't count Inter Miami as well. That's fair enough. But okay, so Ethan, I want to with Kevin Durant, is it looking more and more likely by the day that he's going to be a Brooklyn Net when the
Yeah,
season starts?
yeah, I think so. I don't think they feel any rush here, and
Mm,
and also the other teams chasing him don't feel any rush because what they're asking for is ridiculous, and nobody can actually offer it. So I think the Heat. There was a lot of communication on Twitter because Barry and Tim, who are two of the probably 6 reporters who have the line to the Heat organization. I'm thankful to say that I'm one of the 6. I think since I'd actually had those conversations 48 hours before the two of them tweeted it, and we talked about it on Five on the Floor. You know, I, Look, I think everybody read into it. The Heat have basically thrown up their hands, and to a certain degree, they're negotiating with the Nets and press. They don't do that. Okay, let's be clear about that.
right.
It's not the way that they operate, and they wouldn't do it. No disrespect to Barry or Ira or Anthony or or Tim or me. They would not do it through us. They if they were to do it, they would do it through national outlets because they know that's where Durant's going to get talked about right now. So I don't think that's what it was about. I think it was about two different things, Alex. I think it was one, they're telling their own players that we like what we have. There's going to be growth opportunities for a lot of you, and they're trying to calm them down a little bit. I think that's part of it. I think starting with Bam, to be honest, I think Tyler too. Tyler is caught in between here, and they actually said that to me. He's caught in between in a bunch of different ways. One, he's got to wait on his extension. Two, he wants to be a starter. I was told that's happening. So I was
That's
told that
right.
Tyler will start.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing not to worry about. And the other part is he could get traded. So he's all kind of, and the way it was put to me about Tyler is teams don't ask for your best player. They don't ask for your best player. Like, they're having communications with people all the time. There are three different types of deals that the Heat look at. There's deals that are done. There's okay. There's deals that are done, dead, or live. The Kevin Durant deal was described to me as live. It's live, okay? But it doesn't mean it's going to get done, and it doesn't mean anytime soon it's going to be dead. It's live. That's where it is. They're not denying their interest in Kevin Durant because everybody would think they were ridiculous if they did, okay? They're not. Okay, they're interested in Kevin Durant. Of course, he's a generational player. But in the meantime, their players are kind of caught in the crossfire. And I think, and they understand that, but like they also said to me, players tend to understand when it's a player like that, okay? If they're being offered for every scrub in the league, that's a different story. But for a player like that, there's about 5 guys, 10 guys in the league that would not be in the conversation for Kevin Durant, okay? Maybe Jimmy Butler's one of them. I don't know. Bam is not, okay? But doesn't mean they want to trade Bam. So getting back to the Tyler thing, I think that they recognize that they have to massage this a little bit. But I don't think I think they truly do like their team. They like it. They see potential in it. I mean, they told me last summer that Strus and Vincent were going to be core parts of the rotation. I was like, are you serious? And look, they were right. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a Haywood Highsmith could develop into that. Maybe they can do more with Caleb Martin. Although I don't think he's going to be the starting 4. We actually just reported something on Off the Floor related to this. I don't think they're seeing him as the starting 4. But I think that they recognize that they have a good team. They know Boston got better. They couldn't have done the things Boston did anyway. They know Milwaukee got better. They weren't adding Joe Ingles, so there's no free agents that have really moved anywhere. PJ Tucker still made the second most money of any player to move. They wanted PJ back, but if you're going to hard cap yourself with PJ Tucker, what are we talking about here? How are you? So I think that they recognize the fans are frustrated. So I think the second part of the message was for the fans. I think it's partly for their players and it was partly for the fans that, like, look, get behind this group. Doesn't mean we're not going to continue to try looking for something, but we are not in control here. They are not in control. Okay, the Jazz and the Nets are in control. You can't force Danny Ainge to come off his demand for 78 draft picks. I mean, what are you going to do with that? So, could we at some point see the Tyler Herro extension and then follow that with trade one of your first round picks and Duncan Robinson to get a 4? Yes, it's possible. I think they're going to wait as long as they possibly can to do that until they are sure that Kevin Durant is not going to say, Miami, that's where I want to go. Get me to Miami, figure it out, or I'm going to be a big pain in the ass for you. I think the most likely scenario, honestly, is that KD starts the season in Brooklyn.
I think so too.
And I think these are conversations we're going to be having up until the trade deadline. I do not think this team is finished for the playoffs. I think this may be what we see for the start of the regular season.
Now, how seriously do you take the Boston for KD buzz? Because it scares me as a Heat fan, right? Because it's like, okay, obviously I want Riley to do what's best for the Heat, but if you could get KD to prevent him from going to Boston, like if I were the Heat president, that I would flinch. I'd be like, I don't want him going there. I better bring him here.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Obviously, the potential of a Tatum, and Durant duo is somewhat frightening. Jaylen Brown's a really good player, though. So I mean, it's not like you're not giving anything up. I think the KD thing ultimately is going to come down to which of these teams, totally blinks. Like whether it's with the Heat with the Bam, Toronto with the Scotty Barnes, maybe in New Orleans with the Brandon Ingram, maybe Boston again if the reports are true about Jaylen. But again, I still don't see anything happening before the season starts. I think Kyrie is more interesting to monitor here, honestly. Yeah. I think with KD, it's like I don't think they can get fair value for KD, really. And they seem to want more than fair value. I don't even think they can get fair value with what these teams are actually willing to offer. The way, again, it was put to me was, when they traded for Shaq here in 2004, they still had Dwayne Wade, Eddie Jones on the roster. They thought Udonis could develop into a 4. Well, Brooklyn wants all your picks and all your players. Like, okay, so then what? Like, okay, so you got KD and Jimmy, and what? Okay, how
Yeah.
many of these guys are going to have to move out to get? They don't have the replacements handy, and then they don't have the picks to go get more players. So I I think this is one of these things where I think the Heat are letting this play out because Pat is going to be Pat, and I understand it. But I think ultimately there may be a pivot to someone else. I am watching, and I got to run because my
Sure, no
daughter
problem.
wants to escape. But I will say this: I am watching the situation in Portland because I just don't think I don't know. I think at some point Dame is just is gonna crack on this, and I don't see them as a playoff team this year. I like some of what they did, but I don't think they're a playoff team. That's a name we haven't talked about a whole lot lately, but I don't think it happens now. I think he's giving them the opportunity to kind of prove it. But honestly, Dame Lillard is the perfect fit with this
He
group.
is. Yeah.
Because he can get his own shot. He takes big shots. He takes the pressure off of Jimmy. Um, so I would watch that. I'm not reporting anything. I just think
Mhm.
everybody has kind of put that one to bed. I don't know. They still feel to me like they're in rebuild mode. I don't and I don't again. At some point, somebody's gonna get in Dame's ear and say, "Nah, you know what? It's time to go."
Well, make sure everyone you listen to Five on the Floor, which is like mandatory listening. These guys are always ahead of the curve when it comes to Miami Heat and NBA stuff. Ethan, of course, is a big part of that, and he's the reason why this Five Reasons Sports Network exists. So thank you, Ethan. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, hanging in the 954 though. I'm not crossing county lines. I'm close to Miramar, so I got to be. I'll talk.
See you, man.
Bye.
He's always starting these county wars. 954 versus the 305. 305 till I die. I love it. I can't allow myself to live in a different county than the University of Miami. I love my Canes so much. Although in a couple of years, we might even move to the 407. I'm not sure about that. We may consider Central Florida in a couple of years. We'll see how things go. But I'm always going to be 305 in my heart, my friends. Really good stuff today. Let me throw some shout outs before we get out of here. Actually, I want to play first. I do want to play this because we hadn't talked about this yet on the show. Ethan referenced this. You know, he was at the Dolphins media room yesterday. For as much as I have like tried to debunk the Tua stands, just because anytime people speak so positively about something, I've always got to be a skeptic. I am a Tua skeptic, and I will be until he proves me otherwise. But I don't mind salty Tua. Like I don't mind that now he's going out of his way to question the haters and the critics. I think that's good. I want him to use the fuel. I want him to have that bulletin board material. It's only really going to matter whether or not he backs it up on the field because he actually has to go out there and take advantage of all the weapons that he now has in front of him. But I like the fact that we are getting a little bit of a saltier Tua who no longer pretends he doesn't hear the criticism. Instead of just pretending he doesn't hear it, he's taking it head on now, and I love it. By the way, kudos to Third and Juan for tweeting this video out.
How do you process that? How do you feel about that? How much of a change is that?
Love how the subtitles are so behind.
I don't know any of those guys, so I mean, if that's what they have to say, then good for them. That's probably a good thing for them to say. They draw people for clickbait or I don't know, whatever that is. But to me, if I can't hear you, then you're not that important to me. If you're in my circle and I can hear you, what you're saying, then obviously you got to be extremely important.
There you go. So if you're not in that circle, you're not important to me. Indade asks, how much Kachuk talk have I done? Actually, to this point on this show, none. And I'm sorry about that. And I think it was a good trade. I'm sorry that Jonathan Huberdeau felt like he was hard done. And after more than a decade in Florida and being one of the faces of the franchise, I'm not going to say the face of the franchise because he played here with Luongo, who was the face, and Barkov is the captain. So he's been one of the faces of the franchise for the last decade. I love Jonathan Huberdeau, and he's getting to know now the business side of sports, that when you get traded, it's hard for that to feel good. Like, I don't know if too many players who have been traded, maybe when Luongo was traded back here from Vancouver, because that was kind of his request. He wanted to come back here, but like it's hard to get traded and then come away saying, "Oh, I feel great about the way that they handled that, the team that traded me." Like, I just think that's the reality of the business of sports. And I know some Panthers fans are upset that Huberdeau's gone. Kachuk is better. Like, I'm sorry, man. It's like, it was a good trade. Like, he's younger, he's better, he's aggressive, he gets in your face. I think Kachuk is a great player, and I'm really glad he's here. And this makes the Florida Panthers better. I know Huberdeau had a ridiculously good season last year. I still think the Panthers have upgraded here, and they had to send Uyghur out in the deal as well. But the Florida Panthers, I believe, got the better end of this deal. And so, I'm happy for Jonathan Huberdeau's contributions here in Florida for the last, 10, 11 years. But let's not pretend that Zito didn't go out there and make the team better with this deal, because he absolutely did. He absolutely did. So thank you, Indade, for tuning in. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Been Paid. Thank you to our guy, Chris, the Finns Tailgate. We love you. Thanks, Raphael. David says, curse like a sailor. I don't want to take money out of anybody's pocket, though. Like, I didn't know about this until recently, that it doesn't happen all the time. But like, if you they do try to censor you on YouTube, that if you curse a lot, they're going to put you in a lower monetization category, which is going to mean fewer ads, less money. They're going to take money out of your pocket. I don't want to bring that mojo down on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm going to keep it clean, bros. Also, I got a 4-year-old son who might watch the show. I don't want him to see me cursing like a sailor. We've turned over a new leaf here. We've turned over a new leaf. Thank you, AJ. Thank you. I think that might be it. If I missed you, if I didn't send you a shout out, my apologies. I don't skip over anybody on purpose. Make sure you guys support prizepicks.com, PrizePicks mobile app. You get a 100% deposit match when you use our code 5 FIVE. And check out Better Edge, revolutionizing the sports betting game, fully legal in Florida and 45 out of 50 states. If you live in Hawaii, I'm sorry. I got to double check. I'm going to have that info tomorrow on which states Better Edge is not fully legal, but Florida, fully legal in Florida. Check it out and use our referral link, betteredge.com. That's BETTOR edge.com/5 reasons. And they're going to hook you up with a $50 referral bonus just for signing up. So we will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Oh, Shake Money. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Swear jar. I mean, I could put a swear jar, but that's not going to change the fact that I'm taking money out of people's pockets. Here's what we do, maybe. That's a good idea. So every time I curse, you guys have to donate me money in the super chat to make up for it. Will you guys live up to that promise? So I'm going to drop an F-bomb. You got to send us like a $2 super chat every time that I do that. And the super chat's always open, by the way, just throwing that out there. Every time I curse, you guys send me a super chat and it's going to pay for itself, right? I don't know. Like every time I say fuck, oh God, every time I say that, does that take like $2 off of the YouTube monet? I don't know how that works, but we will talk to you guys again tomorrow on another episode of Donno Daily, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.